right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi, this is Jason Dibbler, co-host of Q with a View, heard every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on FTR Radio. Right now, FTR needs your help in making the jump into the 21st century through some long-needed equipment upgrades. This is where you, the great and loyal listeners of Great Conservative Talk Radio, can really lend a hand. Visit GoFundMe.com/helpupgradeFTR right now. Your assistance, no matter how small, will help to ensure that FTR can continue to offer some of the best conservative radio on the interwebs. Your donation of $50 gets you up to 60 seconds of airtime on FTR radio 4 times. For $100, your ad will run 10 times, or if you don't want to run an ad, you can have 30 minutes of FTR airtime to talk about anything you want. There are other thank yous for other levels of giving as well, but those are some pretty great offers. We hope you'll consider making a small donation to help keep quality conservative talk radio alive and thriving on the internet. Visit GoFundMe.com/helpupgradeFTR today. Thank you.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
We are back at the Modern Comments Radio Show here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. Thanks for sticking around after the break. I am Amy Curtis, your host. And again, with me this evening, we have Randy Clemens, who you can find at Boston Randy, and Dave, who is Charnina 53219. If you don't know how to spell it, handy tip that I got from Taylor, our producer, go to my bio on Twitter, and you can click on it there, because in my bio I have that I am wife of Charnina 53219.
He should
before the
change
break,
it.
Huh?
He should change it.
I know, we're working on it.
He should change it to Mr. Modern Comments.
Duck Soup.
He's going to change it to Duck Soup for a variety of reasons, and every
or
time
Zombie
I say
Gad. I vote
Oh,
Zombie.
wait a second, Taylor. Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? You need to change your Twitter handle.
I am limited due to work right now. Once I'm not limited due to work, I'll change it.
Yeah, and
fair enough.
Dave, we'll talk about it. I'm okay with Duck Soup. Every time I say Mr. Modern Comments, he kind of twitches, so I won't push. It took me long enough to get him on Twitter. Let's not overstep the good grace that I've worked to earn so far in getting him online. Before the break, we were having a pretty good discussion about Scott Walker and his State of the State address, where it, by all intents and purposes, looks like he is getting ready to run for the White House in 2016. And there were a couple points, one that Randy made during the break that I want to talk about in a moment, and then one that Dave was making right before the break, and that was, you look at what happened in, I've talked about this before on the program, in 2011, when after he took office, he won the election, obviously, in November of 2010, and, came into office in January, and when they decided they were going to pass Act 10, which was the Public Sector Union Reform Bill, all hell broke loose in the state of Wisconsin. The Democrats left the state. They went to Illinois in order to block a vote on the bill, because they had to have a quorum, and the senators left the state. We had protests in the Capitol. We had death threats against the governor and his wife, including one that he wrote about in his book, which I've read excerpts of, where the person who threatened to gut his wife like a deer. That is what he was dealing with, on top of trying to run the state and fix the fiscal mess that we were left by the Democrats who had been in control beforehand under Governor Jim Doyle. So he didn't do things like make his goal of jobs. He promised 250,000 jobs, and we are heading in the right direction, but he didn't make that goal. And part of that was because he spent the better part of the first half of his term fighting off the threats, trying to pass the bill that ended up saving the state a ton of money and making the reforms that were necessary, and then beating Mayor Tom Barrett in a recall. So now we are heading into the second term, and my one concern and this is kind of why I waffle back and forth, because I said he's got things here that he needs to finish. There were things that didn't get done in the first term. Wisconsin has a Republically controlled assembly, a Republically controlled Senate by pretty healthy majorities, and a Republican governor. Now is the time for us to pass legislation that is important. One of the things that had been coming up was, for example, right to work. Michigan is a right to work state. I believe Minnesota is also a right to work state, and that Wisconsin is not. We are a closed shop state, and I would like to see some form of right to work passed. I would like to see school choice expanded. I would like to see some other reforms made while the Republicans are in power and have the opportunity to do that, including a repeal of Common Core standards, which the state adopted, I believe, in 2010 before he took office, and which went into effect this year. So now every school in the state is supposed to use these Common Core standards, which have come under a lot of criticism. And these are things that he needs to focus on. And I caution him, and I caution anybody who has the ear of the campaign or the Walker administration who might be listening, to tell him not to play it safe, to avoid trying to, as this article that I quoted, be in the middle of the road on too many issues. He needs to govern, and he needs to govern as a conservative Republican, because his ideas will gain traction. The school choice thing, look at how well it would play. I mean, he would never in a presidential election win D.C., but he could probably make some headway because school choice is popular and the Democrats killed it. You know, he could make headway with the right to work law because it would help foster job growth here in the state. He could definitely make headway with some other reforms, provided the Republican legislature has the fortitude to do it. And that's my one concern, is that now in the face of an election where he knows that his life is going to be looked at with a microscope, and if he talked to somebody wrong back when he was in first grade, it's going to be the media outrage story of the day as soon as somebody digs up some information on him.
Kind of like Ted Cruz drinking while he was underage.
During the break, Randy said that he wouldn't be opposed to seeing a Walker Cruz ticket, and I said I was glad he mentioned that, because Talking Points, I believe it was Talking Points memo, has a gasp story on Ted Cruz, because back in 1987, when I was 4, he got cited for possession of alcohol. And this is supposed to be some big story about how Ted Cruz broke the law back when he was 17, and now we are supposed to do what? Throw him out of the party? Throw him out of the Senate? Primary him? What are we supposed to do with this information? Except look at Talking Points memo and laugh.
Okay,
because they're making him out.
As the resident Texan here, I would like to point out that Ted Cruz getting ticketed for underage drinking, so freaking what? I mean, that's like when they tried to bring up the fact that, George W. dealt with cocaine issues when he was younger. And my issue, and my comment is, something, I'd rather have somebody who had an underage drinking ticket than somebody who than somebody who dealt with cocaine. But even then, if it's been 20, 30 years since then, and you've been clean, who cares? They
reelected, he's dead now, but Marion Barry was reelected after smoking crack in a hotel room.
That's D.C. though.
Yeah, but
you also have a president in office who, in his own book, cites his own drug use when he was a kid, and drugs have been illegal in this country, with the exception of Colorado and Washington for the last year. They have been illegal. You see, everybody wants to split hairs when it comes to the right and to the left, when it comes to personal choices, personal responsibilities, and where we have erred in the past. Is it okay for a president who is Democrat to say that he smoked weed, did a bit of blow, and that's okay, but if Ted Cruz got busted for minor in possession when he was 17, that's such a bad thing?
There's somebody else years ago cited this: what's a parking ticket for a liberal is a felony for a Republican.
Yeah, and it's just
exactly
to gin up outrage. And for me, I just laugh because, like we said off air, what was the number? I bet 80% of people listening at some point in their life had a drink when they were underage, unless it was somebody who, for whatever reason, did not want to drink at all. They had a drink, and some of them probably got busted for underage drinking. Either that means getting a ticket or, getting arrested.
I had lots of really good parties in my friend's basement in college.
Breaking news.
Yeah. Breaking news?
Breaking news.
Yes?
Get the breaking news sounder. Battleground Texas is still alive. Battleground Texas just announced they have a new field director who is not only a top-notch organizer, but a native of Harlingen.
Woohoo! Yay!
What's Battleground Texas?
That's
exactly. Yeah. I almost want to reply. You still exist?
Do it.
I almost want to.
So, yeah.
Now, from my standpoint, when it comes to Ted Cruz getting an MIP ticket when he was 17 years old, so what? Back when I was growing up, the drinking age was 18. I was drinking when I was 14, 15 years old. Am I a saint? No, I'm not running for public office. But the thing is, first of all, we are all people. First, instead of being a politician, whether you're senator, president, congressman, congresswoman, it doesn't matter. We're all people. We make mistakes. Some of them bigger than others. Ted Cruz getting busted for having alcohol when he's 17 years old, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. Like, I think it was Amy, you said, they're just trying to gin up the anti-Cruz sentiment.
Yeah, and to say, well, something that's going to be outrage, look at what he did in his past. Well, I'm sorry, if we all got judged by our pasts, nobody would be able to do anything ever.
And as it is now, a Democrat eat live kittens on TV, and that would maybe generate a mild comment.
Yeah, it's worthy of mentioning because those tactics are worthy of being mocked. And there is a hashtag going around Twitter, and I believe it's Ted Cruz Crimes. Yes.
Kurt Schlichter had some incredible Ted Cruz crimes earlier tonight on Twitter.
Yeah, I only was able to throw in a couple, but I did left the toilet seat up and ripped the tag off his mattress. So those are my contributions, and maybe I'll come up with some more later, and we'll play the hashtag game for a little bit because
made his own cassettes.
Yeah, he made his own mixtapes. It's just you gotta approach some of this stuff with a sense of humor and beat them at their own game because it's ridiculous. And if he would run as Walker's running mate, I would be okay with that. I would really like to see him.
Mia Love.
That she doesn't have enough experience, but I think that would be excellent. A few more years under her belt, and I don't think that would be a bad idea. Susanna Martinez would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Jindal would be good. Nikki Haley might not be a bad idea, but having a governor in a position of leadership, I think, is what we need right now. We don't need any new, first term, second term freshman senators with community organizing experience to run this country anymore, because obviously it didn't work, Harvard degree or not.
And you can't vote present as president.
No, and no, because it gets you into the mess that we are in now. And whoever, if it's Walker or some other Republican, and I do believe it's going to be unless they run Bush or Huckabee, which isn't going to happen, or Romney again, I'm pretty comfortable in saying that the Republican is likely going to win, because I think people are going to be so fed up with the Democrats after having Obama in the White House for 8 years that it's going to swing to a Republican, and they are going to have their work cut out for them. So we need somebody who knows what they are doing, because there is a lot at stake, and there is going to be a lot of work that needs to be done to right the fiscal ship of the United States before we completely go off the cliff. And
but Amy, we all know that we all know the GOP can screw up a wet dream. What they need to do is they need to harness all the momentum from the 2014 midterms and don't screw it up. But they're bound to screw it up somehow. We've seen it time and time again. They can't get out of their own way.
Oh, they always have the ability to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
And they want to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be liked better, more than govern well.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to be liked, but you've got to think long-term strategy over short-term strategy. That's the problem that you see in certain situations where everybody just cares about short-term strategy. Everybody just cares about doing. Winning the next election instead of thinking long term. Now, it's understandable because honestly, the situation that you have into is if you're running for office, you do have to run for re-election if you're in Congress every 2 years. If